Today I'll be interviewing former Welsh rugby international Christian Loader, who will be discussing about his career, which spanned for almost 15 years, how important education is within rugby union, and the current state of the game here in Wales. Chris, thanks for joining me, and can you just quickly explain to maybe people that are not familiar with you, who you are and where you come from, basically?
Right, okay. My name's Chris Loader. Used to be a professional rugby player. Started off rugby in Dwyrain in school, worked my way up through the age grades, then Wales under 15s, under 16s, under 18s, 19s and 21s, captain all the way through. And then started my rugby in Swansea. So when it came through Neath College, and then started my rugby career down in Swansea IRT.
And you said that you started with the Whites. You know, what was that like in the early 90s?
Yeah, it was brilliant. I went training with a lot of different clubs. I went with Aberafan, Neath, Swansea, Connecticut, and it was Mike Ruddock down there. Made me feel welcome, and the boys down there. Yeah, so I ended up having the opportunity then to train with the Whites and eventually getting into the team.
And what were some of the highlights from your time at St Helens?
Highlights, obviously, getting into that first team. That was amazing. We won the Old Shreps Cup back in 1985 against Pontypridd. That was a great day, and yeah, just games against Cardiff and Connecticut, and all good times. And
of course, you'd have overseen the game going from the amateur stage to the professional stage.
Yeah, for my first cap, I had £26.50, and that was travel expenses. So that was good. But yeah, my first cap back in 1985, when Wales had just gone back out after South Africa had just won the World Cup.
And what was that like from a club scene, first of all? You know, was there much of a difference in kind of straight away, or did that take time?
Oh, it did. A massive difference. You go from playing club to playing international is a different level altogether. But I was lucky I had good players around me, and thoroughly enjoyed it when I was there. And
of course, you made your debut out in South Africa, off the back of winning the World Cup that year. What was that like going out there?
Oh, that was an amazing experience. Really loved it. A couple of months before, I'd been watching South Africa lift the World Cup, and next minute I'm walking on the tunnel, I got Francois Pienaar next to me. So yeah, that was good. Can't really remember much about the game. I know Paul Arnold, who was playing, my best mate, and he was just saying, don't worry, just get on with the game, it'll go really quick. And yeah, it did. And I was very fortunate then for my first cap then. John Davis, he gave me his jersey to swap. So I kept my original jersey, and I had a South African one as well then, so that was good.
That must be pretty cool to have from your first cap, because you often see so many shirt swaps, and you managed to keep both.
I got and from there then, you always swap the kit then after all the time, but I got my first one, so kept that.
And of course, you'd left Swansea to kind of go a bit more to the east side of Wales then, later on.
Yeah.
Where did you go from there?
I went to Pontypridd. I had 2 fantastic years up there. And then from there I went down to Bridgend, another couple of years down there, and then rugby was going down the regional route. But what happened was I had a contract offer from the Celtic Warriors. Went to go and sign it, and it was a different contract, so I said thank you, but no thank you, and I ended up signing for Rotherham then. So I went up there, but when I got up there then, there was Kenneth Lewis, Jason Strange, Luke Ross, so it was a bit of a Welsh contingent up there as well then.
And obviously you kind of started off that little journey at Pontypridd. It was a side renowned for forward dominance,
yeah,
and some big characters, especially in that pack.
Oh, definitely. You had Sven Kroenke, massive influence, great mate, Chief, no doubt. Matthew Lloyd, Brent Cobain, Sadoli, you had some great people up there.
And what was those atmospheres like at Sardish Roads?
Oh, I used to love it. They fed on the House of Pain up there, and the supporters are amazing. Really good.
And of course, you mentioned there you had some time in England as well. did you notice much of a difference even then between the Welsh and English game?
Yeah, it just seemed more professional. When I went up to Rotherham and then obviously came back to the Celtic Warriors, but then it ended up in Bath. They've been more professional. They were professional before it was professional, even at amateur level. They were running the game on the club level to a good standard. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and how did you enjoy your time in England then? Obviously with Rotherham and then later on with Bath.
The standard was the standard rugby was quicker. The intensity was higher. Not saying that the regional sides weren't playing that well at the time, but no, I just thoroughly enjoyed it up there, and obviously made some good friends as you always do with every club.
And then you came back to Wales originally after your stint at Rotherham, a couple of games with Bridgend, then went on to the Warriors. What was that season like with the Warriors?
That was brilliant because we had such a good team, good ethos, brilliant mix of Proto-Preve boys, all the Bridgend boys. We had, looking back at the team photos and the programmes, we had a cracking team, and it was just unfortunate that we got called into the Vale and told that we were going to be disbanded.
And what was those kind of last few weeks like? Because you'd been pushing to finish as high in the league as you can, to get into the Heineken Cup as it was, and then all of a sudden that was it.
Yeah, we played out in Connaught on the Saturday and won, so we made the Heineken Cup, and then we had a phone call, can you go up to the Vale on Monday morning? I went up the Vale and we were told by Steve Lewis then that the Celtic Warriors were going to be disbanded. Coaches from the other regions were in the next room, and if they wanted to, they'll call through. If not, you can go.
And what were those experiences like at the Vale? Obviously, at probably a squad that was quite tight knit, and then being told, "Oh, you're not going to play together anymore."
Yeah, it was a bit sad really, because we, like you said, we were a very tight knit group of boys. Done really well to get to the Heineken Cup again. The only team to beat Wasps that year, Wasps went on to win it. But yeah, the boys got called in, and there was a few of us that didn't, and then so we just all went back. I signed on Dole, but luckily Mike Burden, who was my agent at the time, he just said, "No, I've got you a stint up in Bath," so that was great then.
And you mentioned the Wasps game there in the Heineken Cup. Was there any other games that you enjoyed during that season with the Warriors?
To be fair, the crowd and supporters up in Bridgend were brilliant. They were a mix of Bridgend, obviously Pontypridd, and we played Wasps away. That was a great game. Long time ago now, but there's a couple of games that do stand out. But I just thoroughly enjoyed my time with the boys there.
And then you moved on, as you mentioned, back out to England with Bath, and what was that like for a period of time?
That was good because we used to travel up with Duncan Bell, Gerrit Lewis again then, and John Humphreys, so we had a bit of a Welsh contingent travelling back and forth. Obviously the rugby was fantastic, good players, good coaches, facilities, just lucky to be a part of it. Yeah,
and how important was that to kind of have those friendships in and around, the Welsh connection, I suppose, with Rotherham and Bath?
Yeah, it was good because when you went away, you were always with the boys and stuff like that, and we were always tight knit, all lived together for a while until the partners came up and stuff. But I'm still friends to this day as well.
And of course, with the Warriors, there's kind of a time at Welsh rugby where it was quite precarious, and over the recent couple of years there's been some troubling times. What are your thoughts on the Welsh game at the moment?
The boys up top are doing their best, there's no doubt about that. Nobody puts a jersey on to play badly. I do think they need to invest more at grassroots to see more development coming through. But at top level, the coaching, perhaps they need a bit more, not diversity, but a bit more intricate for individual players, individual positions and stuff like that. But I just think at grassroots level and coming through youth and first team and community level and then stepping up, if you encourage more youngsters to go at the game, then we can push through again then.
And of course you're currently, as a PE teacher at Doorvale Comprehensive School, and you'd have seen it yourself with the Warriors, with how kind of important you need education within rugby, because it can go so wrong so quickly.
Definitely. One injury and you're back to square one. So I know the Players Association are pushing now for boys to get qualifications. Mum and Dad done it for me, dragged me kicking and screaming to college and university. So I at least had something, a qualification to fall back on after my injury. But yeah, the boys are at the top level are earning great money, but it doesn't last forever. So they're either going to invest it wisely or get a qualification, because rugby does come to an end at one point. And
you mentioned there your injury right at the end of your career with Bath. How did that come about? What kind of happened?
Innocuous pre-season game done at Plymouth. Rolling subs, going back on, back off. Just felt a little twinge in my neck and a bit of pain in the arm. And then just gradually got worse. Had a scan the next day, and he said, you've broken a bone in the neck and disc bulge, and so I had a couple of epidurals to see if that would fix it or settle it down. Didn't work, and then I had to concede and have the operation and give up.
How long was that period then, from the initial injury to retirement? There must have been a bit of a spell to try and get it all fixed up.
The pre-season game was in August, but by Christmas time it was all done and dusted then, so that was it.
What was that like as a player? Of course you'd have had a long time in the game, but to retire from injury isn't the nicest thing to have, is it?
No, you always want to retire on your own terms, and that's not just got taken away from me, but it was just one of those things, and accidents happen. But everything happens for a reason, so I was very fortunate enough then to start down in Doorvale after it.
Yeah, and how important is that, to kind of being able to quickly find that job after an injury inflicted end to your career?
Yeah, I just think it kept your mind going, because you in an environment with the players all the time, they like your family as it were, but then to have that just cut and being on your own, it is difficult. But I was lucky, kept myself busy and fortunate to get a job done straight away.
Yeah, and it might have been quite sad to kind of leave the rugby department side of things, but then to get that environment and educating young people must be a really nice thing to have after a successful career.
Yeah, definitely. Some fantastic boys have come through. We've got Tristan Davis now, who's with the Ospreys. Ollie Burrows, who's with the Dragons, been done at Exeter's. So the conveyor belt is there, but I just think they need more investment from the union and from the regions now to push it at school and club level.
Yeah, and of course you'd have seen it from the Warriors days, how vital it is for young people to have that education. What advice would you kind of give to them, for anyone, a teenager who might be thinking they might have a good chance of maybe making an academy? What would your advice to be to them?
Go for it. Give it 110%. Train, work hard, but then you've got to work hard off the field as well. Get your studies done. Because you always need a qualification to fall back on. Fingers crossed, the boys make it and they go on to succeed and play rugby and enjoy and travel. But if they don't, or when they finish, they've at least got something to fall back onto.
And you mentioned the likes of Ollie Burrow and Tristan Davis there. You've done some coaching after your playing career. What's that been like? Do you kind of, does it give the same as a playing aspect of it, or do you enjoy coaching more perhaps?
I enjoy the coaching now. At first, I think it's an art. I don't think you have to be the best coach. I think you're looking to be the best manager. It's how you treat people and just trying to get the best out of the boys. So at schoolboy level in school, we teach them the basic skills. But I think the higher up you go, it's just the boys have got the skills to do it. You just tweaking them and getting the structure right. But it's just maintaining that enthusiasm for them.
Yeah, and you've coached a couple of clubs, including Swansea and Eslavera, and then you went kind of back home to where it all began at Bryncoch. You know, how have you enjoyed your coaching stints so far?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, I've done Swansea, I've done Ebervale, Slevera, but back up in Bryncoch now, and it's lovely. You know, it's a local club. Most of the boys, apart from two, have taught. So the first question, do you call you sir or Loader? So I was Loader, and I was fine. But yeah, it's a nice club. They got a good mini section. They got the women's bronchettes. They got touch rugby for the older boys. They got youth second team. So it's like the hub of the community up there. So it's really good.
Yeah, and how important is that to kind of keep that going throughout the next few years?
Yeah, it's good. No, it gives some feel into our area. You know, everybody gets a big buy-in up there. It's a nice feel. You know, like I said, it's hard for the community, and there's so many people up there on the weekends. It's really good. You know, the committee are great. Yeah, no, I just got a lot of praise for it. I'm really enjoying it.
And one aspect that you would have been particularly proud of as a former front row forward would have been the scrum, and of course that's taken a lot of change since the end of your playing career to now. And what was it like back then when you were playing?
It was like, well, raging bulls going at each other, really. You know, a bit of a car crash. But looking at it now, it's more technique based. So I think they got it right. Now the sequence, the cadence of it, it's more technique based. But it's still a scrum, and they can't go away from it. You know, if a team dominates a scrum, they'll want to win the game. So no, they can't take that out of the game.
Yeah, and I suppose, how have you kind of gone about it in terms of teaching it to kind of maybe young players or young props maybe later on to kind of get their skills up to speed?
It's just breaking it down, the process of it, getting the structure, getting their shape right, even feet placement, hip placements, just little tweaks for them to ensure that they're in the right position, for first of all safety, and then to second of all try to dominate the opposite number.
And which one would have you preferred as a player? Would you have preferred the older school type of way, or maybe the new technical stuff would have suited you?
Oh, a bit of both, I think. The new style, I think, is better.
Yeah, over the next few years, you mentioned a little bit there about maybe not having the scrums in the game, and could turn into rugby league. Would you want that?
Nah, rugby league is a good game if two good teams are playing it. The same as any sport, but no, there's so many different instances of the game with line-outs, ruck, ball, scrum. I think that's the beauty of rugby, and they've got so many different. Rugby is a game for all shapes and sizes, so I think you do that, and then you destroy the heart of the game.
I'll go quickly back to your playing days. Was there any moments that you kind of miss or relish over the course of your career?
Miss or relish? Miss being in an environment before a big game. From waking up in the morning to putting the kit on to that warm up with the on the field with the crowd and stuff like that, and then when they're running up to the tunnel, that was always good. Obviously, I was very fortunate to play for Wales. The anthem was always amazing at home. Very fortunate to play different grounds, playing against New Zealand, South Africa, Australia, France, and have that experience of playing at that level.
And what were those experiences like? You mentioned Ruan Pena and South Africa earlier on, but against the All Blacks, against Australia, would have been powerhouses of the game at the time.
Yeah, and unfortunately we didn't win. But we went out there, and it was like a schoolboy thing. I'm playing against boys I used to watch on TV. I was playing with men that I used to watch. With Alan Bateman, Jonathan Davis. I played against Campese, played against Sean Fitzpatrick, John Olomo. It was surreal, but I just really, really enjoyed it.
And what was Lomu like? Did you get anywhere near him?
Nah, I think I might have jumped on top of him once in a ruck, but he was just an amazing powerhouse, but really, really humble and just a lovely gentleman.
And yeah, just kind of a final one from me. Was there a particular club that you enjoyed your career at the most, or is it just a kind of a collective?
Swansea was brilliant because it was my first club. Obviously, really enjoyed there. I made great friends. Obviously, Pontypridd, fantastic. Bridgend was good. I think every club I've been to, I've always kept in contact with one or two of the boys there, and I think that's the joy of rugby. You be playing each other because you just keep on just making friends and enjoying.
A big thank you for Chris for taking his time out to speak to me today. It was a real insight to hear about his career, which spanned for over 15 years, his thoughts on the Welsh game and what areas that needed to be improved, and of course his time as a Welsh international and the importance of education for a young rugby player.